not a
So I think recording is started right now. Yeah.
okay.
Also, will you share the slides and also the code?
Yeah, like that will be
At end
the,
of
yeah.
daily session, we will provide GitHub link also where and the PPT obviously. So we will be
Thanks.
sharing the resources by end of day.
So yeah, so now moving on to the agenda. So we will it's a 3-day event, like it's a 3-day series where we will talk about the most important topics, which includes all the hands-on sessions as well. So today, if I talk about today, that is day one. So we are going to introduce what is AI agents, what are the type of AI agents are there, and what is what are agentic frameworks available in the market, and then finally we are going to touch upon the AI Azure Foundry that is from the Microsoft. The day two we will take up talk about one use case, and that is market analysis, and we all will together code, and we'll see like how we can code the same thing with different agentic frameworks, and we'll also do the hands-on on Azure Foundry. And finally, on the day three, we'll touch upon MCP and the other uh, agent protocols like MCP, which is itself is a agentic protocol, and A2A, and do the hands-on as well. So this 3 days will include the theory and the practical of all whatever we are going to talk about. So I think everyone is excited about this. If yes, then please react thumbs up. So I know that you are excited about this. Yeah, wonderful.
Perfect.
So, yeah, wonderful. Shivam, next slide, please. Yeah, so, no, yeah, this one. So before starting out directly with AI agent, so what we wanted is to introduce you with the entire journey of AI, at least in the last decade, so you can relate with what from where all of a sudden AI agents come from. So we have come an incredible journey in just a decade, and it started in 2014 when like machine first began to understand human languages through NLP. Like all these frameworks were introduced, like word to vec, sequence to sequence, attention model, which has transformed everything, and therefore the transformer. Then in 2018, there was a rise of pre-trained language model where it was able to understand human in a more better way. That's where like GPT-2 model, BERT model, all these models are even like very famous till the date. And then in 2021, there was a good level of rise upon there. So the scale up and the multimodality came. So multimodality means like it could understand the text, code, images, audio, video, anything. So that's where it came in the 2021, and the best year of all, 2022, where everything changed. ChatGPT bought, like OpenAI bought generative AI to the masses. And since then, we all know like there's a thing called generative AI. Before that, like I like not a data like I have, but very few people knew about generative AI, about GPT-3, GPT-2. But since ChatGPT, everyone knew that okay, there is something called generative AI. And now in 2024, we have entered in the age of AI agents that don't just chat, but that think, plan, and act autonomously. And that's what we are going to talk about in the whole entire series. So, uh, Shivam, next slide. Okay, yeah. So let's understand one simple use case before introducing AI agent. So I hope everyone has planned some trip, maybe like to nearby state, to nearby countries or whatever. So let's take a one simple example. We have like initially, if you want to plan a business trip to in New York, the steps to be done manually is like search and compare the flights, look for hotels, check work calendar, book rides and reserve spaces, and create itinerary and call the person like the hotel manager or someone to again and again. Even finding the best restaurant nearby is like the hectic part that we used to do, and uh, that is used to take like more than the 3 days of business trip. So this was very hectic. Moving on to the next slide. So let me introduce AI agents. So AI agents are nothing but they are very intelligent system that automates your task, make real-time decisions using the real-time information like weather report, what is the nearby hotels that are very good according to the people based on their feedbacks, and optimize the workflow to drive the efficiency and the insight. So AI agent is nothing but your own personal like AI Siri or AI Alexa that you have, who can do all your tasks based on based on your use case, whatever that you are going to provide to that. Moving on to the next slide. Yeah, so the same use case we are going to talk about here, but the kick here is like if we have AI agent to do all these things. So AI is like whatever the task you were doing manually, now if AI agent can do the booking, the hotel booking, the like syncing with your calendar, whether that whether you have a meeting at that point when you're going to book the flight or whatever, coordinate meetings, send confirmation, share the itinerary, and search for the better restaurant and whatever, like based on your requirement. So just to think how things have gone changed from like doing manual to AI doing everything and just providing you one PDF or maybe one markdown file to you. Okay, go and book this hotel. Go and check. We have changed the calendar as per your requirements and everything else. So this is something like this is one of the basic example that I can provide to you, but we are going to deep dive into the more complicated examples, more complicated use cases. But just for the understanding, just see like how much uh, the time and the effort has been reduced just by introducing AI agent to your day-to-day lives. Next slide, please. So here is the basic comparison, like before AI agent, like for the same use case that I'm talking about. So before, like 3 to 4 hours is also impractical, but before AI agent, the same task used to take 3 to 4 hours, but now after AI agents, it takes 5 minutes. The effort was high before, the effort is very minimal after. The minimal effort is like how you are asking the agent to do the task. So that like, the prompt is something. Prompt is the key for everything that you do in the generative AI, and the flow before the AI agent. Uh, the flow was very broken. You have to jump into different several apps, whereas after AI agents it's just one prompt and your whole task is done. So then moving on to the next slide, and I'll just hand over to Shreya, who will talk about AI, what are AI types of AI agents and what are the pillars of AI agents.
Sure. Thanks, Akriti. Okay, Shivam, can you please go back to the previous slide? Just want to add one more pointer there. Okay, so just one more thing I want to highlight on. Since Akriti mentioned that prompt is very important, many times what happens is that people underestimate prompt, that it's just a simple English. But when we talk about prompt, it is a way for us to communicate to the models or to the agents. So that prompt is the only way by which we can make them understand that what we actually want. Until that requirement or the instructions is clear, we won't be getting the expected output. So many times it happens that the prompt is not good or not up to the mark, and due to which the system does not perform well, and the focus again is on like checking the other components of the system, but issue actually lies with the prompt. So prompt is of utmost importance, I would say. So not only in agentic AI, but when we deep dive into this world of generative AI, where we are uh, like we are passing on the instructions to the machines or to the systems with this prompt. So that is something that should be properly mentioned and should be passed on in a very structured way. Okay, so can you please move on to the next slide? Yes. So we have been talking a lot about AI agents, but when it comes to like what exactly is behind the scenes happening, what are the capabilities of AI agents, which is making it so much popular? In 2025, I believe we have been hearing a lot about what AI agents are, and the new things that are coming up in this dynamic environment are more around this AI agents only. So let's talk about what are the foundation of these AI agents. Next slide, please. Okay. So one of the pillar of AI agents is autonomy. Uh, when I say autonomy, it means that the ability of an agent to operate autonomously. When I say autonomously, it means without any human intervention on its own capability. So if I talk about the capabilities that it has as a part of autonomous system, so first is that it can set its own goal. It can formulate sub goals. We just give it a goal that this is what your goal is. It on its own break down that main goal into sub goals, make out the strategies, and then based on it, it takes the steps further. Second one is it makes independent decision. So it has that knowledge, and using or leveraging that knowledge, it can on its own decide that what is the next course of action. If I talk about things before generative AI, we need to hard code the logics that if this happens, then do this. If this happens, then do this. So anyhow, it's human who is intervening in between and is instructing the system that you need to do this way. But when it comes to the autonomous behavior of AI agents, it's nowhere human coming into the picture. It's all about on its own knowledge, it is performing the actions. Next is it can manage its own resources. So it can allocate its computational powers, and it can decide that when to use those computational power effectively, in what scenario it has to increase that, in what scenario it has to decrease that, based on again the use case that we are working with. Next comes up is the initiate action. So it can proactively identify the opportunities, it can proactively identify the problems, and on its own, it can then initiate the actions to address them. So again, if there is something that is breaking down, it's not us who are going to tell the agents that, okay, this broke down, please do this, please do that, the way we used to do previously. But it has its own capability that it identifies those breakpoints, and based on that, it on its own decides what action does it need to take to resolve those things. So this is all about the autonomous behavior of the AI agents. Moving on to the next pillar, which is adaptability. So when I say adaptability, it means how much efficient an AI agent is, or what is its capacity to adapt itself to the changing things, to adapt its behavior as per the things that are changing in its within its environment. So first thing is continuous learning. AI agents, they can process the new information on their own, and without any manual programming required, they can update their internal models. So again, if I talk about the world before AI agents, let's say that if there is a new data that I need to feed into my model, so it will be human who will be doing that manually and will be programming that, okay, this is the new data, now like train on this one and feed it into yourself. But in case of AI agents, they have this capability that they can process the new information on their own, and on its own, they can update the internal models. Next comes is the dynamic adjustment. So based on the feedback that they get, or based on the feedback that they refine, they can make changes in their strategies. Since I in the autonomous behavior, I mentioned that they take decisions on their own. So for that, they might need to change, like based on the changing needs or changing behaviors, they might need to change the strategy as well to like while they are making the decisions over time. So they are able to make this dynamic adjustment as well. Next comes is the handling novel situation. So they can leverage their learned knowledge, whatever they have learned. So it's more about they learn on their own. We do not explicitly feed the information to them. And whenever they identify, like let's say based on the past experiences that they have faced before, the way reinforcement learning works, more like that. So based on the past experiences that they have encountered before, they can use that knowledge and implement that into their current scenario as well. And next is personalization. So when I say personalization, it means that they can learn about the user preferences as well, which gives a more personalized touch when we as a human are interacting with the AI agents. And we know that is something that looks good as compared to addressing generally versus when someone addresses us like in a personalized way. So based on that, they learn the user preferences and they can tailor the outputs accordingly. Moving on to the next pillar, which is action. Action means again the ability to interact with the world. AI agents does not necessarily have to be software. They can be physical as well. Physical devices, as in terms of robots or drones. Like there, we also have AI agents there. So when I talk about the action, the first one is the physical action. So for the agents who are interacting in the physical world, like robots are there or drones are there, which involve like navigating the spaces, dealing with the physical environment, interacting with the hardware. So it is able to operate that way. Second comes is the digital action. So in addition to the physical world, they can definitely interact with the software systems as well. So the example which Akriti gave, that it can plan things on their own. So in that case, it is basically interacting with softwares. Like let's say there is an agent who sends the emails. So this sending email, they are definitely interacting with the software on its own, uh, to get the task done. If it's about, let's say, dealing or interacting with the database or updating some data there. So again, it's the database as a software which the AI agent is interacting with. So that way it can interact with the digital world as well. Next comes is the communication. So the NLP capabilities that AI agents have, it helps the agents to understand the human language, because we know that the language we speak as a human and the language which these agents and machines understand is totally different. So the NLP capabilities that these systems have, this makes it very easier for us as a human to, I would say, interact with them and understand what we exactly want from those systems. Last point for this is the goal-oriented execution. So whatever AI agents perform, they are not random. They are properly planned and they are directed towards achieving a goal. So whenever we work with agents, there is a goal that we use to define. We just define the goal. We do not mention anything on how to achieve that goal, what steps you need to do. We do not do any of the thing. Now it's on agent that how it achieves this goal. That entire planning and strategy is being handled by it. So again, the actions, whatever AI agent is performing, these are towards achieving a specific goal, towards the finalized goal that we have. Last pillar that we have is awareness. So when I talk about awareness, it's more about how much aware the AI agent is about a context. So let's say that I am interacting with a chat, or with a robot or with a chatbot, or anything like this conversational, something. Now let's say that there is something I've already mentioned, I have already discussed about it, and even we see it while interacting with the customer support of various platforms as well. There is something that we already discussed about in the past, and when the user comes back and picks the picks the thing from there itself, then there is this context maintained. The system is already aware of what was the discussion that happened, and then it takes the context from there, so things are not new for the system. It understands, it saves that in the memory, and from there it picks it up and then takes the conversation further. So first is the sensory input. Again, the systems which deal with sensors, like which basically gathers the data about their surroundings. If I talk about example, let's say cameras, microphones in physical world, or APIs in terms of software. So these take the inputs from these various sources, and this input is then saved into their memory as a context, and then is used for the future conversation or for the future processing. Next comes is the contextual understanding. So they have this capability that they can process the raw data, and they can understand what the current context of the situation is. So definitely when we are dealing or when we are communicating with any machine, we expect that the machine is able to uh, bridging the gaps that is there, and building the relationship between different pieces of information which is scattered here and there. So it has that capability that it can process the raw data, and then it can based on it understand the different pieces of the information. Next comes is the world models. So it build the internal representation, or I would say which is called as models of their environment, and it allows them to predict the consequences of their actions, whatever they are doing, what will be the consequence of that particular action. And last but not the least, but understanding human intent. So when AI agents interact with humans, it includes the ability to understand the user request, the intention, their emotion through NLP. And this is again which I covered previously as well in case of personalization. that they can learn about human behavior, they can learn about what is the tone, what is the intention of the humans, and based on that, they proceed further. Um, okay. Now, this was all about the four pillars of AI agents, or the basics or the foundations, and more towards the capabilities of AI agents to understand that what are they capable of, what all things they can do. Next comes is the types of AI agents. Can you go on to the next slide, please? So we have multiple types of AI agents available in the market. And again, depending on the use case, what your exact requirements are, what is the use case scenario that we are working on, we can again go ahead and work with any of those. So the first one is the simple reflex agent. Simple reflex agents are the ones which operate on a set of predefined rules. Like there are a set of conditional action pairs that are being defined, and based on that, it performs. Talking about the capabilities, now it does not store any memory, and that's the reason that its execution is fast as compared to others. So whatever conversation is there, there is no context maintained. It's just that based on the some conditional formats or the conditional actions that we have defined, it works on those, and just the chat vanishes once the conversation is done. uh, if I explain you with an example, so let's say that vacuum cleaning robot. So in this, how it works is that we have a logic defined that if there is a dust particle or if there is something dusty found, then do the cleaning. So this is again a conditional pair that we have defined conditions. Automatic doors. So it detects an object. So the way we define conditions are that if you detect an object in front of you, open the doors. If you don't, then close it. So that's how it works. Second is the model-based reflex agents. So it is almost similar to the simple reflex agents that we discussed, but the difference between the two is that it maintains under a state, or it maintains the memory uh, or the history that happened, so that in case if you want to refer to anything that was already discussed in the past, it is aware about the context that what is being discussed about. If I talk about examples again, then if we have robotics, autonomous vehicles, gaming AI. So, for example, if I talk about autonomous vehicles, it learns from its past. Whatever, let's say that there is an autonomous vehicle and it's driving, right? And based on certain scenarios, like what's the speed, what was the environment that it read, it took certain actions. Now there are high possibility that in future that something similar might come again. So in that case, it uses the knowledge that it has learned from its past, and it implements it in the current situation. So that's how it stores the previous things in, or it stores the previous states in its memory, and then use it for the current things. Next AI agent type that we have is the goal-based AI agent. So in case of goal-based, we define a particular goal, and using its own planning algorithm, it plans the actions, plan the roadmap, plan the strategy, that how the agent can, how it can achieve that predefined goal. So that planning and everything is done by the agent. We as a human are just giving them the goal, what the goal is. So the key capabilities are that it has the capability that it can search the action, it can do some sort of research and build a strategy on how it can achieve the goal. And it definitely considers the future outcomes as well, because there is a future goal that we have defined to AI agent. So keeping that into consideration, it has to do those things. For example, flight booking assistant, even the one that Akriti discussed about in the previous slides. So there the goal is we need to book a flight, but how to get the information detail, how to pick that from the database, how to find the relevant information. That is everything that is done by the AI agents. Like let's say that I just say I want to book a flight from this to this. Now, in case if my information is already stored there in the database, it will on its own go to the database, search with my name. It will search what is my travel history in the past, what are my preferences, which class do I generally travel in, what sort of destinations do I like, what are the timings I generally prefer. So fetching that data, studying that, and on its own, like if you see here, we are not asking it to go to the database and then get the data from there. It's not us. It's the AI agent itself who is planning and doing these actions on its own. The next AI agent that we have is the utility-based agent. So this is almost similar to the goal-based agent where we define a goal, but here we evaluate the actions and pick the most optimal outcome. We find the so when we have a goal, I hope you all agree that when we have a goal, there are multiple ways we can reach that goal. But there is always an optimal way, which will be optimal in terms of performance, in terms of time, in terms of complexity, in terms of costing, and multiple factors will be there based on which we will be able to decide, okay, this is the most optimal solution that I can go for reaching out to this particular goal. So this is what utility agents do. If I talk about the example, so let's say recommendation system. Now, the goal of recommendation system is not only to recommend, but when I as a user is watching something, let's take an example of like let's say Netflix. Now, the order in which it suggests me, if you see the first, I mean the things that comes at the top will always be the ones that I generally watch, right? Like in case of recommendation system as well, they do uh, prioritize the things and are more towards what are the interests of the agents. So it's not only just fulfilling the goal, but again, what is the most optimal way that the goal can be fulfilled? Again, resource management, like let's say in sales or any other department where we are looking for managing the resources. So it's not only about resource management, but it's more about what is the optimal way so that we can uh, manage and assign those resources in a more good way. Last comes is the learning agents. So learning agents are the ones that learn and adapt and improve over time. So one of the pillars that we discussed about was adaptability in the previous slides. So it means that it can on its own learn, adapt, learn from the experience, learn from the past, learn from the errors, and implement in the future. If there is something it did wrong, it should know that it knows that okay, this was wrong and this is what the correct approach or correct action was to that particular thing. Uh, so that's how it on its more towards like a reinforcement learning. But again, in case of reinforcement learning, it's us as a human who are intervening in between and passing on the actions. But here they on its own are doing this learning thing. They are on its own improving over time, learning from their experiences. So they have this learning. Shivam, can you please go back to the previous one? So they have this learning component, they have the capability of exploring and adapting. If I give you the quick examples, then we have like spam filters. So in case of spam filters, we have the data, it learns from that data, the categorization or the filtration that it did, let's say. And if let's say there is something wrong, then it understands and learns that okay, this was the prediction that or this was the filtering that I did, and this was wrong. So based on that, it learns, and then in future it improves the performance and uses its past experience to make the decision. So this was all about the agent type. If you go and search for the agent type, you will find a lot more many, but again, I would say these are the most five majorly AI agents that are being used in the industry. And this is something that will cover almost all of your use cases. Uh, Going on to the next one. So AI developing AI agent is okay, but how do we develop that actually? Like whatever we covered till now was more towards the like internally of AI agents. What is their foundation? What is their capabilities? What are their types? But when it comes to the actual implementation, which we will be focusing on in the upcoming webinars as well, how do we build that and what are the different type of frameworks that are available in the market that we can use to build the agents? Next slide, please. Okay. Now, these are the four majorly used frameworks again in the market. I am sure you must have heard at least about any of these framework, and there will be more that you will find. But uh, again, the way we chose is that the ones which are widely accepted in the industry and are easy to use. I mean, again, every framework has their own capabilities depending on the use case that you're working on. You can go ahead with that. So the four frameworks that we have is Crew AI, AutoGen, LangGraph, and Semantic Kernel. And even going forward, when we will be working with the code, we will be covering the use cases. We will be working with two frameworks. One is the Crew AI, and another one is the Semantic Kernel. So these are the two main that we will be focusing on going forward in the sessions. So, I mean, I think there's sufficient information if you have a quick look at the slide that I have mentioned. So again, some are open source, some have this integration, some are cost-wise more efficient, some have this role-based, some have this planning architecture, some have this prompt engineering support. So everyone has their own capability. It's on us that what for exactly what we need to use it. And the third column, which is highlights or best for. So here some of the use cases are covered. For example, Crew AI is good for content workflows or SEO optimizations or research teams. AutoGen is mainly used for in case we need dialogue heavy workflows or when work with conversational tool or chatbots. And this is where the minimum coding is required. It's more like working with the from the UI. So there is this AutoGen Studio UI, which is there. So we do not have to actually code there. It's more like drag and drop sort of things playing around the UI. LangGraph, like it's good for its complex and stateful pipelines. It has the logic-rich orchestration, and this is where we can have more of the control of. And again, it has its own functions which might not be available in others. And last is the semantic kernel. So it is multilingual. It does support multiple languages. It does provide the prompt engineering support. It does provide the memory and context management, the one that we discussed about in the previous part. So yes, this was about the AI frameworks. I mean, you can explore more towards it, and it's not like this is important or that is important, I would say. It's more like it's good to have a basic idea of what each of these frameworks are, and it's good to identify that in your particular use case, which frameworks works best for you. So this was all about the frameworks. Going to the next slide. Sure. So I'll now hand over the presentation to Shivam, and he will be covering on like from Azure AI Foundry, how we can build the AI agents in the real time. So over to you, Shivam.
Thank you so much, Shreya. So now let me show you the heart of today's session, that is Azure AI Foundry. So before that, let me share my screen. Is my screen visible?
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. So this act as a unified platform for enterprise AI solutions and operations, model builders, and application development. So whether you are creating, for example, you are creating a chatbot or a virtual assistant or a complex multi-agent system, so you will be needing models to deploy that. So from Azure AI Foundry, you can directly deploy the models. And Azure AI Foundry also provides the tools to make it happen effectively. And let me show you the portal and walk you through these capabilities. So its link is ai.azure.com. You can navigate on your own browsers. Uh, this is the home page of Azure AI Foundry. So this is previously known as the Azure AI Studio. So if you are looking on any of the documentation previously mentioned as Azure AI Studio, that's mean the same thing. It's your one-stop shop for creating AI agents. So, for example, like I've created multiple projects from there. They are from view or resources. You can see how many resources or projects can be built. So let me have a quick overview how to create a project. So there are two types of projects. One is Foundry resource and other is Hub resource. Mainly, Foundry one is recommended to build AI agents and to get model access. And if you are contributing or working in a company, they already have a hub resource. So you will be getting access to hub resource, not the Foundry one, because this is the like higher architecture of resources type. So let me show you the one that I've already created. And uh, yeah. So after creating the project, let me show you the let me like explore what's make Azure AI Foundry stand out. It offers five key features. First is the unified development environment. That is the projects part where you can find multiple projects listed over there. You can integrate tools for coding, testing, and deployment in one place. It also offers a user-friendly interface and code-first experience. And second is diverse model ecosystem. Like in the Azure AI Foundry, there is a model catalog. This is, for example, this resource group is deployed in Sweden Central region. And in Azure Sweden Central region, there are 86 models deployed. So you can directly go, for example, I want to get an idea of Codex Mini. You can directly deploy and see the benchmark also over here. This is mod this model deployment is not available. Also, you can compare multiple models. For example, you are confused between model router O4 Mini or GPT 4.1 Nano. So you can add both the models into the compare models field. So you can, based on multiple regions, you can get access of a rich catalog of over 1,600 models, including those from Microsoft, OpenAI, Hugging Face, and more. You can get those collections from here. So you can benchmark over here or fine tune or deploy models as a service. Next is about advanced agentic capabilities. That is the agents part. Through agentic capabilities, you can combine multiple models. For example, I create multiple models, data sources, and modalities in your solution. For example, using knowledge base, you can add Azure AI search. You can upload local files that is saved in your local system, whether it's grounding with Bing search or SharePoint. You can add those. And from here, deployment part, you can deploy like either you can select the model which is already deployed in your Azure AI Foundry, or you can click on new deployment uh, to deploy the base model present over here. You can also build advanced applications like RAG using your enterprise data. That is for the based on the local knowledge base. Next is about enterprise grade security and responsible AI. So for that, Azure AI Foundry includes tools for bias detection. That is covered in the risk plus alerts or evaluation methods and governance. So you can get the interoperability and privacy preserving machine learning, which ensures compliance practices over it. Whether the when the user prompts, the content provided is filtered accordingly or not. And the last part is the full life cycle management. That is the management center. You can manage. I've hidden the main part that is subscription ID, and endpoints. So there's a point you are like likely to be seen blurred. So in the management center, you can manage your AI projects from ideation to production. That is built-in tools for monitoring, evaluation, and continuous improvement. So, any questions regarding Azure AI Foundry? You can directly connect your resources in this project via connected resources and get the overview of the project from here.
Just to add one point, yeah, Shivam. Actually, like our chat is not working, so if you guys have any question, please feel free to open up your mic and
You can raise your hand. Yeah.
you can just unmute yourself and ask. Yeah, thank you.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I can. Yeah. So I've tried actually doing this. So I don't think so. The OpenAI, when you try deploying the AI Foundry or AI Hub, right? So you get a couple
Yeah.
of resources. That is what I observed. One is your AI Hub, AI Foundry, then storage account, and the Key Vault. Now in OpenAI, when I try to import a model, and when I use that when I'm trying to create a workspace in an agent, right? So then what it says is uh, agents are not available in certain regions. So and when you go to Microsoft documentation, that we see that the
Yeah.
agents are available. And if I have to kind of place them behind a virtual network, right, there is some limitation is what have seen. Are you aware of those limitations?
Not able, like, I'm not aware of that. I was able to deploy any model that I wanted and the agents that I want to.
No, no,
So,
it's about the region specific. And if you place this
so
behind a
which region
virtual
are you
network,
working on?
I used West Europe, I used East US, I used East US too. Okay, but the Microsoft document says that these models are available. And again, when you say model, model cannot just do, right? So you need to have an OpenAI instance and then the model, then you hook up.
Yeah.
And right. So now when I try creating, then it says the OpenAI instance, which is in East US2, does not have the agent facility. So that is one. And the other one is when I place these resources behind a virtual network, because this when you by default create, they're all public. When I create something public, which is unsecure. Now, when I go ahead and start putting them behind a virtual network, then I think again there's a problem with the connectivity is what I see. Especially it doesn't allow you directly, but you need to use Bicep to kind of provision the resources.
Yeah. Not exactly, but you can use. I'm
I mean,
not
it's
sure
okay.
about virtual
Yeah,
AI
yeah.
network,
I'm
but
just
yeah,
trying to call
you
out
can
actually these
you
problems.
can like you can ask in the Azure AI Foundry Discord server. I will sharing the link of the Discord server. It's official for Azure AI Foundry, or the AI team is for Microsoft is already present in the Discord server, and maybe they can navigate more better. And
Yeah,
if
yeah, yeah.
it's the
I
subscription
tried it.
issue, they can navigate it.
Okay, okay,
uh,
okay. Thanks,
yeah.
Shivam. I will. Yeah. So I just
Also,
want to call this out because I've tried it and I've put this in the Discord also. But yeah, and in the document also, it's clearly called out saying that it's just for the benefit of others. If they are, because we are not talking anything about the secure way of deploying the resources, right? So if someone is trying to deploy resources securely, then I think this is something to watch out for.
also, one thing, can you write it here over the chat? Oh, sorry, chat is not available.
Yeah, chat is not there, or else I would have done that. But anyhow, what I'll do is
You
I'll
can
reply
ping
back on
either
top of
of
that
our
email.
you
Yeah,
can
like
ping on any of our LinkedIn profiles, and we can navigate it back to you. Or
Sure,
maybe
sure.
Discord will be the better option,
Yeah,
honestly.
yeah,
Or I
yeah.
think let's do it this way. I mean, definitely you can try and respond, but you can put that query to us, and probably in the next session we'll try to address that. I mean, we'll come up with a solution.
Yep,
yeah,
yep, yep.
Yeah.
Thank you. Thank you.
yeah. Any other question, please? And is there something you want us to cover in the next 2 days? And then that also you can tell us. Yeah, Arya.
Um, I'm kind of a beginner in these AI agents. Like well, I know very little about this. So I'm asking like, are we going to code, or we are just using the uh, multiple drag and drop features and just prompting.
Yeah, so
In
Aryan,
Azure AI Foundry, you can get the prompt or you can like create agents via instructions, but you can't get the real-time data like fetching from the using API to call real-time data or using customized on your own. So for that purpose, you will be needing Python SDK or any other language SDK to code and customize on your end. So using Azure AI Foundry, you can definitely it's simple as drag and drop. We will be sharing Azure AI Foundry hands-on session by tomorrow, on one of our use cases. So you can follow up on that.
yeah, in addition to Shivam, like what he has said, like Aryan, if you are starting out with AI agents, I'll personally recommend to start with QUI and this LangChain or React agents because that is very easy to understand. And like if you want to code, but if you want to do the drag and drop, then I would suggest AI Azure Foundry for that.
Yeah, yeah, okay. My doubt is clear. Thank you.
Okay, Aryan.
Anything
And
else?
one more small
I,
Satyajit,
thing. Are we going to share this recording also along with the material?
Yeah.
yeah,
Thank you.
So we will share one GitHub
we will
repository
be
with.
sharing PPT and
Yeah,
so
Shivam.
I was thinking how we can show the like share the GitHub repository with the audience. So either I can share my screen and show them. You guys can copy paste the link. Uh,
no, I think Shivam, along with the resources, he will be sending out, and we will send out an email to them, right? Including the deck, the recording, and the GitHub
yeah,
link as
okay.
well. So let's share that all together at that time. Okay, Satyajit has raised his hand. So Satyajit, do you want to go now?
Yeah, so Shreya, so yeah, actually, I have just a small doubt, kind of a query. So, I mean, for Azure, so this semantic kernel and this autogen, are they part of this Azure, Microsoft Azure only? So, to create agentic, I mean, to address this AI agent or agentic use case, so will we people will be using this semantic kernel as well?
Yeah. So Satyajit, like on day three, we have planned to use semantic kernel, and on day two, we will be using the CRUI code. So it will be easy for everyone to understand and use as per their use case to which agentic framework they want to use.
Yeah, so I have just a small data. For example, right now this Shivam has shown this AI agent. So whether he used this semantic kernel or not, because kind of that was
In
not
Azure
clear here.
AI Foundry,
Yeah,
Azure AI
yeah,
Foundry is not dependent on any of the frameworks. It's
yeah.
as simple as drag and drop plus instructions you have to provide while
Mhm.
creating agents. And if you
Okay,
want some more
so
customization like API calling and getting the real-time data, for that purpose, you
mhm.
will be needing API calling the SDK version of semantic kernel, either is in Python or in any other language.
Okay, and also just I'm curious about this Crew AI. So you will be using some of a drag drop feature or kind of some Python programming. Just I
Yeah,
like.
It will
yeah,
be
Sat-
Python programming.
So, okay, so you will be using
Basically,
some,
both. For day two, it will be as simple as drag and drop. For day three, it will be Python programming using semantic kernel framework.
okay.
uh,
So are you
also,
not covering this autogen as well? Autogen, are
no,
you?
No,
So can you
but
guide us? I mean,
the
for the
resources
autogen,
that
how
I
we
will
can apply autogen if
sharing, the
let's say.
resources that I will be sharing that in that go through different type of framework.
Mhm.
Satyajit, in case you want to
Sorry.
learn Hydrogen like more in depth, I would suggest go to the deeplearning.ai and there's a course on autogen. That is a very wonderful course. Like even I learned from there. So you can check that resource.
Yeah, actually, yeah, that I require. That is well. So okay, thank you, Akriti. for the information. Thank you, Shivam, Shreya.
Yeah, thanks.
Also, I dropped the GitHub repo link in the Q&A. I guess that people can access that panel. And Yashi, we will be sharing the recordings and PPT and other of the resources either in the chat, and if it's not visible, we will drop the mail.
Yes, Shivam. So chat is actually not
I
visible.
hope the
So
answer is answered.
Yeah,
The
Aryan.
Q&A, Q&A.
Uh, where is the GitHub repository link?
Aryan will share one mail with you, and there we will attach everything like our recording, the PPT, and as well as the GitHub repository.
Okay, thank you.
and in case if you guys have some accessibility issues there, then please feel free to ping any of us on LinkedIn. We'll help you get the access and all those things.
Yeah. So to check out our LinkedIn, maybe next slide, Shimon. Okay, so before that, maybe like we'll just touch upon like what we are going to discuss tomorrow and day after tomorrow. So today we just discuss the theory part, that is like what is AI agents and what are their different types of AI agents, and the pillars of AI agents. Plus, we have shown you Azure AI Foundry that Shivam has beautifully shown, like how to start with Azure AI Foundry. In the day two, like that is tomorrow, we are going to touch upon like how to do code with Free OI. We will share the theory over there, and the Python code will be there. We will take one use case, that is market data analysis, and the whole like our whole this webinar will be on this same use case for the day two. Coming to the day three, that will be our final day, where we will touch upon the MCP and other protocols, that is A2A also from Google. And we also see like how Azure AI Foundry with the semantic kernel we can do, and we'll do complete hands-on for day two and day three, along with some theory about whatever we are going to do. So I think day two and day three will be excited. Like they will be the excited part of the whole series. So hope to see you tomorrow and day after tomorrow. Yeah, moving on to the next
And
slide.
before
Yeah.
that, can we go back to the previous slide, please, Shiva? So since we have come to the end, now the next thing that we expect from you before coming to the second session is that whatever we covered in the session today, that is something is basic and is definitely required before we move on to the practical part. Because understanding the foundation and the theoretical part is definitely important. So please go through that. Uh, do some sort of web surfing. If you need any help, we are there. And if you are stuck anywhere, we'll be grateful if you come up with some doubts from the first session. In our second session, we'll be happy to answer that. But please before coming to the second session, please do have a good understanding of what these things are, so that it will be good for you, since you will be able to relate, and will be good for us as well, because by then time you will be clear with the foundations. So we will be hoping for that.
Uh, yeah, thank you, Shreya. So next slide. So here is our LinkedIn handle. So you can connect any one of us, or you want to connect with all of three of us, then that's good. So if you have any query anytime, just ping us even on LinkedIn, and we are happy to help. Thank you so much.
Okay, does anyone have any other things to discuss? Maybe any sort of doubt. Don't just think that it's very basic. I cannot present it here. Feel free, even if it's very basic, we'll be happy to answer that.
Actually, can I ask something?
Yes, please.
Ma'am, 2 weeks earlier, I wanted to make a project of AI agent. Hello, am I audible?
Yes,
Yeah,
you are
yeah.
on.
Yeah.
But I was not able to find any resource or any tutorial which can guide me, because I am a beginner, so I was not able to I was not able to find a resource which could help me to build a basic agent. Can you please tell me about any resource which will help me to build a basic agent, with the code part, not the drag and drop?
Aryan, like I'll suggest to start with GUI, and because like that is one of the simplest and easiest way you can understand like what agent are. So and then you can start with AutoGen or LangChain. So to start with, I think deep learning.ai courses are very wonderful. They are beginner friendly, like beginner to advanced. So you can start with that. Even Microsoft has launched a lot of courses on its platform. So maybe like we can share all this link on the, like we'll be sharing
Yeah,
the GitHub and all.
let me just screen share my screen and show the part.
Yeah.
This was my GitHub repository where we will be publishing about day by day of day one, day two, and day three content. I think the link is visible over here. Is it? Can
Yes,
anyone
we can
confirm?
see it. Yes, yes.
Yeah, sure.
So you guys can copy this link and navigate into the repo. All of the day one content is already published over here, like the crux of the things we have covered in this session. And we will be publishing about day two and day three with use cases and the code which we will be using. And regarding the Aryan's query, uh, there is a course AI Agents for Beginners by Microsoft. This is a step-by-step guide for like 01 into 2 AI agents, explore agentic frameworks. This is the in this, it's using AutoGen and semantic kernel frameworks to code. For the Crew AI part, I'm not sure any other other resources. So it's already published in the main Microsoft AI agents for beginners repo. So you can navigate over here and learn about how to create AI agents from scratch and by basic. And it's totally beginner friendly.
Okay, thank you. Thank you, ma'am. Thank you, sir.
Can I ask you one question? So let's say if I want to use semantic kernel framework and I'm coding, is it
Yeah.
possible to mix match frameworks? Or if I stick to one framework, then I have to do just one framework at a time?
I honestly I haven't tried multiple frameworks.
Yeah.
Just
I
one.
use for the semantic kernel only.
Okay.
And Shreya and Akriti has used Crew AI, so they can answer more better.
Yeah. So Abhi, if you want to try out with different agents, so there is one thing like agent to agent protocol or agent communication protocol. So using that, it will be easy to communicate with like two different agentic frameworks. So that is one thing. And sorry,
No,
Abhi, you are saying something?
no, no.
Okay, okay. Yeah, so like these protocols are meant to do the agent to agent communication. So that is why like you can use that for communicating between two agents or maybe like from the two different agentic frameworks. So likewise, you can do this.
But
And
let's
Sure.
say,
we do have like multi-agentic systems as well available. I mean that we can work on, build on. So in that case, again, we have multiple agents, and if in case you want to build them on multiple frameworks, you can. But again, it's more about the how the agents are communicating and how we are building the relationship in between them and joining the threads there.
but
So
one agent can have only one framework. A second agent can have a different framework or the same framework, doesn't matter. But you
Uh,
cannot mix multiple framework for one agent.
No, Abhi. So, like, it depends on the use case. For suppose, like, if you have like two use cases, one is very suitable for the QI, and maybe the second is very suitable for the autogen. So, you might have like several agents within one use case, but it's not like one agent can have like two different
Okay.
agents. Yeah.
Fine. And I have another question around LLM ops. For example, whatever we are doing a proof of concept. And let's say if we design a very basic agent, whatever you discussed about the hotel booking, whatever, let's say if that is done, now we want to move that into production. So how do we build the CI/CD pipeline, whatever, the traditional ML ops we do in machine learning? How can we use the same principles for LLM ops over here to move the code, to move the API, to move the deployment endpoints that we have done for the model from dev to production? Possibly there'll be different deployment endpoints for development and different for the production.
Yeah. So yeah. Anything else you want to add?
No, no, just
Okay.
complete pipeline.
Yeah. So for that, what we do is like we just treat it as like any other microservice, you can say. So we make an agent. We do everything. We just make an fast API endpoint out of this, and for the deployment just make a Docker file and just deploy. So if you treat anything as a like microservice, it becomes easy for the deployment purpose, like for the end-to-end production purpose. But if you treat it as like agent and make it complicated, then yeah, definitely is going to get uh, what we say, crash or something. But if agents are like very like I would say agents takes a lot of tokens, input and output tokens. So it is not that easy to deploy because it takes a lot of memory and usage and also the time. So for that, I think they are like I would say like if you have know about weights and biases and all these companies, so they have
Yeah.
some observability for that, so they use that thing. So maybe you can go and check that out, but yeah, like the basic thing what we do is like we just treat it as a microservice. Like the data is something like the data we have several different endpoint, and for the agent we have a different endpoint, and make it as like from the fast API. Using the fast API, we just make several endpoints and just deploy it, you like making a Docker file and just deploy it through something like Code Engine or Azure or something like that.
But you're using the same endpoint which you used for sort of developing the POC, and then the same endpoint for using it in the production. You're
Yeah.
not changing the endpoints.
No, if we don't have any public data over there or public thing over there.
Okay, thanks. And is there
Yeah.
a way to estimate the cost? For example, when I was doing some experiments, initially it looked very cheap. And then suddenly I did a very basic, RAG-based system, very basic, I think just two or three small PDFs. And suddenly the amount, shot up by $50 in a day.
Yeah. So for the cost, I would say always do a good data pre-processing before, and do as much as chunking. If it is a RAG use case, then do as much of chunking, re-ranking. Like just make the optimal this like the whole pipeline, so that you don't pass like a very big amount, very big chunk into the input and get a very big chunk output. So
Yeah.
that the first way you can reduce your cost. And like I can think of that is that, like that only is it's just like you can just better your whole pipeline from end to end, like re-ranking, chunking, everything.
And that is all built in within AI Foundry. So if you use search AI, then it does all the vector database, it does all the indexing, it does top K, everything. It's all you don't have to code for it. It's all inbuilt.
Yeah, like so AI Azure Formula, like I'm more of a code person, like maybe Shivam can give the answer on the drag and drop person, like drag and drop side. So Shivam, up to you.
So for Azure AI Search, I personally used in the SDK version because it is more likely usable
Yeah.
via key and endpoint. So the on day three, I will be sharing one code. In that we have used GitHub MCP and Azure AI Search. So maybe you can get the more
Sure.
idea on day three regarding this query.
Okay, thanks.
I'm Banu Prasad. I'm audible.
Yeah, you are audible.
Actually, I
Yes.
want to ask you a question. Maybe it's apart from this session. I'm working as a Pega decisioning architect from past 1 year, and I'm also learning in my free time like AI agents with multiple frameworks like QA, LangGraph, LangChain, and N8N. And actually, now I want to switch my role to the AI engineer in a product-based company. And can you suggest me like how can you guide me like how to switch and the tech stack more should I learn? Can you guide me through this?
Shreya, want to take that?
Yeah, sure. So I think it's good that you are, on your own, you are like with the help of some self-paced courses, you are learning that. So one thing I would definitely say that this AI field is something that is dynamically, I would say, evolving. Like if you see one day or the other, something new is coming. So once you are a bit confident that okay, you know the things, like start building out the projects on your own. Even if you're not getting a chance to work on or develop the projects into your professional work, then start building your personal projects, post them on GitHub, and that's how you can start building your portfolio. Uh, Apart from this agentic AI, I would say you can focus more on the foundational things as well. Like I'm not exactly sure what exactly are you working on in the current role, but when it comes to building the portfolio, try to make it bit diverse, not only specific to agents, but you can try exploring uh, some other things as well, which are there in the market, the foundational things, or let's say the RAG applications, or again the AI agents that you have. So if I talk about the switch, then I believe once you have the portfolio ready, it's not necessary. I would say that you need to work in like in your professional world. If you have the knowledge, you will get the opportunities. So try focusing on that. And once you have that strong portfolio with you, and when you try for a switch and look for opportunities later on, then definitely you will be getting reached out by the companies that like for the roles that you'll be applying for.
Okay, thank you so much. Actually, I have built multiple applications on RAG also and React
Mhm.
Agent and multi-agent also. Should I need to
Okay.
learn more on and should I need to learn more tech stack like starting end to end, like from starting end to end, like starting from the front end and to the deployment?
uh, that's not the necessity, I would say. As I said that, even if you learn all of these things, it will be like there will always be a need of Akriti, can you please mute yourself? I think there's some echo from your side.
Okay.
So there will be never a point that you will say, okay, now I know everything. Now I know end to end. There will